Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. A few props that'll be handy for today. I suggest having a couple hard blocks nearby, and we will do a couple of binds. So if you want to have a strap or a belt or anything like that, then go for it. And it may not be necessary as well. When you're ready, we'll get started on the back today. So you can come down and take any Shavasana like shape, but check in, see if there's something else your body's asking for. If you'd rather begin in a seated meditation or something like that, then go for it. And if you are coming to lying down, just take your time to get comfortable. You can add any props that you need, you can add any layers that you need. Choosing any comfortable symmetrical shape. And then see if the body feels a little fidgety here. Feel free to find a little movement to help settle yourself in. And letting the body start to feel heavy here. And as you're ready, starting to find stillness. And then start to notice your breath here. Notice the quality of each inhale and exhale. And with each inhale, you might start to imagine a sense of space, a sense of lightness. And with each exhale, feel yourself get really heavy and ground down to the mat. Noticing what effect, if any, this slow, steady breath has on the body. And notice what effect it might have on the mind as well. And then check in and see what would benefit you the most from your practice today. There are always options to build on and add on, always options to take breaks or to modify. So please make the practice whatever you need it to be. Listening to your breath, listening to your body. And when you do feel ready to start to move, give the head a gentle rock side to side. Maybe a little movement through the hands and through the feet. And if you like, you can take the arms up overhead and give yourself a full body stretch here. And reach with the hands, reach with the toes. And then when you're ready, collect the knees into the chest and wrap the arms around the knees or the shins. And give yourself that rock side to side. And you can keep this going or maybe start to draw circles with the small of the back, one direction a few rounds and then the other. Awesome. And then we'll take this to a happy baby. When you're ready, you can separate the knees, reach through. It's still early in practice, so you may choose to hold the ankles instead of the feet. And feet, of course, if they're accessible, or maybe just the knees. And just check in with the low back. If it feels like it's curled up off the floor, see if you can prioritize keeping the low back grounded, even if the feet need to come down a little bit. And then imagine that the arms are really heavy. See if you can draw the knees a little further towards the floor. And you can choose stillness here. If you prefer to keep a rock going side to side, then go for it. Awesome. As you feel ready, gently release the feet, lower them back down to the floor, and then we'll bring the left knee back into the chest. Right knee can stay bent, or you can extend that long down the mat and guide the left knee a little bit towards the left armpit, so a little to the side of the body, and then just give it a squeeze there. You might be feeling the sensation more on the left side. You might even be feeling it more on that right hip flexor. Wherever you're feeling it, breathe into it. And for the last few breaths, you can stay exactly here or take it to a half happy baby. Reach the left arm to the inside of the left leg. And again, it could be foot or ankle, maybe foot up towards the ceiling. And stillness, maybe that gentle rock side to side. Awesome. And then when you're ready, gently release the left foot, let it come down to the floor, and collect the right knee back in the chest. And hands around the knee, left leg can extend if that feels good for you. And guide the right knee a little bit towards that right armpit. And take a few deep breaths here and just notice maybe the side feels a little different to the first. Maybe it needs something a little different. And again, you could stay here for the last few breaths, or right arm to the inside of the knee and catch foot or ankle, half happy baby, stillness, or rock side to side. Awesome. And then release the right foot as well. And bring both feet flat to the floor. And feet roughly underneath the knees. If you need to adjust anything, go for it. And then find your robot arms, so elbows by the rib cage, fingertips towards the ceiling. And just check in if there's any sensitivity in the knees. We're going to flow bridge here, so you're welcome to do it from tippy toe. You could also do it from the heels. So especially if there's knee issues, you might feel free to experiment a little bit. And if holding a static shape feels better in your body, then you can also choose that. But if you're flowing with me, then just prepare for a moment. Ground down the shoulders, the elbows, and the feet. With your next inhale, lift the pelvis up any amount towards the ceiling. And with your next exhale, lower it back down. And then flow with your breath, inhaling to lift and exhaling to lower. And keep going with your breath. Maybe close down the eyes. Last couple rounds. Last one. Once the pelvis touches down, just pause. You can rest the knees in together, maybe hands somewhere on the body. And Take a moment to notice the breath. And only when you feel ready to roll down onto your right hand side and coming into a fetal position to begin with. And then from here, we'll extend the bottom leg towards straight and we'll step the left foot forward. So just find a place that feels comfortable. The toes can point wherever they point. So your version of this shape. And then if it feels okay to stay down on that bottom arm, go for it. I'm going to prop up on the elbow. I find it a little bit more comfortable in my body. So from here, the bottom leg, the right foot, just flex it for a moment, make the leg really strong, and then we'll pulse the bottom leg a few times. So when you're ready, take an inhale breath, lift the right foot any amount, exhale, lower it down. And then keep going with your breath, and just check in. If you need some padding under that right hip, then feel free to add some in. Don't worry too much about how high the leg is lifting, but see if you can use the whole inhale to lift it and the whole exhale to lower it. Last couple. And the next time you lift the leg, pause. Awesome. Stay here. Take a deep inhale. Stay flexed. Exhale. One more full breath. Awesome. When you're ready, you roll down onto your back, collect the knees back into the chest, and give yourself a hug, a rock side to side. Awesome. And then when you're ready, you can roll down onto your left-hand side. And again, starting off in a fetal position, maybe resting on that left arm. And extending the bottom leg towards straight, bending the top knee, right foot finds the floor. It's okay if this side looks a little different. And then take a moment, flex that bottom foot. Leg stays strong the whole time. Inhale breath to lift and exhale to lower. And keep going. Nice and slow. Last few. Awesome. The next time you lift it, pause. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. Enjoy the wobbles. Awesome. When you're ready, come on down onto your back. And once again, collecting the knees into the chest. And give yourself that hug, that rock side to side. Awesome. And then start to rock up and down the length of the spine. And just massage the back a couple of times, mindful of the neck and of the head. Rocking up and down a few times. And then building up some momentum as you're ready, and we'll come up to a seat. Awesome. So from here, just take a moment to get comfortable. Feet stay flat. You can scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way. And we're going to play with a version of thread the needle that we normally do on the back, but we'll do it almost like a boat pose variation here. So to begin with, you might have to lean back just to give yourself adequate space. You can also extend the legs part way. We'll start with the left leg, so cross the left ankle over the right knee, and it's okay if you need to stay here the whole time, or you can stay here. You can have the foot flat. Now the option here is to play with balance a little bit as well. So for starters, make sure that that left knee feels comfortable. If it helps to flex the foot, then go for it. And now from here, you can reach through, maybe catch hold of the knee or the hamstring. And again, this may feel like plenty and you can stay right here. You can rock. Or if you want more challenge, think about lifting that foot up off of the floor. And then again, check in here. Final option, and this will require you to press the ankle and the knee together, is to release the arms and then just see what happens. It might be a little bit wobbly. The whole time, check in with the spine too, especially if you're rounding in. See if you can keep a proud chest as best you can. Awesome. Last few deep breaths. Great. And then when you're ready, lower the right foot, lower the left, and just give the knees a windshield wiper. Awesome. When you're ready, we'll come back and do the second side. So right ankle over the left knee, leaning back on the hands, and then just check in with the knee, see how it feels. Maybe give yourself a rock. Left foot can come a little closer, maybe starting with the foot flat. And then from here, you can reach through, see what feels best to catch hold to. And if you're lifting the shin, then go for it. And check in with the length in the spine. And check in, maybe you challenge the balance here as well. And check in with that breath and keep breathing. Awesome. When you're ready, lower the left foot, then the right, and just give the legs a little shake out here. From here, we'll swing the legs around, and bring the hands to the floor, spread the fingers nice and wide, and grip the finger pads into the floor, and then we'll tuck the toes, lift the knees, and play around with downward facing dog. Maybe pedal the heels here, maybe sway the hips. And check in with the shoulders. We're looking for stability, so if it helps to keep the hands really active in the floor, then go for it. Imagine length in the spine, imagine heaviness through the neck, the head. From your downward facing dog, take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep sigh. And twice more. Deep inhale. Exhale. Last one. And the next time you inhale, bend the knees and look forward. And with your exhale, you can step or walk and find a forward fold, top of the mat. Maybe a generous bend to the knees for this first fold. The arms can dangle. Give the head, the neck a little movement. Give the spine a gentle sway. Awesome. When you're ready, take an inhale for a halfway lift. Lengthen. And sigh it out. And again, inhale. And exhale. Last one. Now halfway lift for the transition. And step the left foot to the back of the mat. Lower that left knee down to the floor. Keep the back toes tucked. You can pad the back knee. And when you're ready, come on up. And take a moment to find balance here. If you want to widen your base a little bit, go for it. If it feels too long, you can shorten it as well. And then getting ready for some movement here. Inhale, breath, reach the arms up. As you exhale, circle the arms down and back, but lift the back knee up off the floor. And then inhale, drop the back knee, raise the arms, the gaze. And then exhale, reverse it. And 3 more rounds, back knee optional. If you want to keep it down, go for it. And final one. And drop the knee, raise the arms, inhale. And then plant the palms, step back to downward facing dog, exhale. And take a moment to set, and then with an inhale breath, shift forward to plank. And with an exhale, lower down to the belly. Untuck the toes and bring the hands forward into the sides a little bit, either fingertips or palms flat. Inhale, breath, peel the heart open, lift the gaze up, and soften down. And twice more. Now inhale, tabletop position, and exhale, downward facing dog. And from your down dog, when you're ready, lift that left leg up behind you. And with your exhale, step the left foot just outside the left hand and lower the right knee down to the floor. Now, blocks might be handy here, especially if the floor feels a little far away, then go for it. And take a moment to check in with the pelvis. And give yourself a little movement side to side. Just see if there are any sticky spots you want to look out for. And then we'll set up for a twist. So right hand over to the right a little bit, maybe left hand to the left thigh. And with an inhale, start to turn the chest open towards the left. And check in here. Make sure that that right shoulder feels secure. Right hand can stay active. And a few more options. You could lower down onto that right elbow if you have space to. If you want to go for the quad stretch, you could also bend the right knee, catch it with the left hand or with your strap if it's far away. Whatever you're choosing, breathe into it. Awesome. Gently release the back foot if you have it. Bring both hands down. And then from here, heel toe that left foot a little bit further towards the center and tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then spin the right heel to the floor, right toes point towards the right. You can take one of your blocks to the inside of the left foot, setting up extended side angle. Left hand presses down, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And then check in here, find your stance. If you need to adjust the proportions, go for it. I'm going to offer the bind, so if you're using a strap, then you can take it to your right hand, and don't worry about what it looks like. Right arm reaching towards the ceiling, and then bend that elbow, bring the hand behind the low back. The strap is dangling between your legs, so this is the half bind, or the option to reach the other hand through and catch the other end of the strap. You can walk the hands a little closer together, but notice if that compromises the chest or the shoulders, if that means the right shoulder is now facing the floor, maybe a little more slack will help you. And then keep the feet active here as well. Keep that bend to the front knee. Keep that long line of energy going from the crown of the head to the right heel. Awesome. If you have the bind, you can release it. You can just drop your strap. And then with an inhale breath, come all the way up, extend the front leg towards straight, and then arc back for a reverse triangle, right hand to the right leg or hip. And then breathe length through that whole left-hand side. Awesome. One final inhale. And as you exhale, cartwheel fingertips to the floor, and we'll step forward to a forward fold. And taking about 8 breaths here, and choose any version of a forward fold. If you'd like to explore a bind with the arms, then go for it. And again, you can use your strap, stillness, or movement. And if you'd rather rest in standing or in a squat, then go for that. If you're somewhere other than a forward fold, then you can make your way back here. And if you have a bind, you can release it. And the next time you inhale, lengthen, halfway lift, and sigh. And twice more. Last one. Transition, inhale, halfway lift. And step the right foot to the back of the mat, lower the right knee down. Come on up when you're ready, but check in if you want to add padding or anything like that, then go for it. Find your gaze point, find your balance, arms lift. And deep inhale here. And then circle the arms down and back, lift the back knee. Inhale, drop the back knee, raise the arms. And exhale, reverse. 3 more, nice and slow. Next inhale, drop the knee, raise the arms. Next exhale, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. And take a moment to set up your down dog. And then when you're ready, inhale breath, come forward to plank. Exhale breath, lower all the way down. And 3 back bends just like before. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Your hands under the shoulders. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale to downward facing dog. And from your down dog, inhale, lift the right leg up behind. And as you exhale, step the right foot just outside the right hand, left knee lowers. Lizard lunge, take a moment to set up that right foot, find the angle that works best in the body. And again, you could bring props a little bit closer if you need them as well. Always the option to pad the back knee, check in a little bit with the pelvis, give yourself a little movement here. Awesome. And we'll set up for the twist. So left hand a little to the left, right hand to the right thigh, and with an inhale, turn the chest open towards the right. And check in with that left shoulder, slight external rotation, hand stays active for stability. And the option, if you did so on the first side, to reach back, maybe catch the foot, maybe you're using a strap, and breathe into your twist here. As you're ready, gently release the back foot, bring both hands to the floor. And then from here, heel toe that right foot a little bit towards the center mat, lift the back knee, and then spin the left heel to the floor, left toes point left. Block for your right hand to the inside of the right foot, ground down through that side, lift up through the left, extended side angle, and keep that knee deeply bent. And then from here, option if you're using a strap to the left hand, bend the left elbow, hand towards the low back. Reaching the right arm if that's an option for you, catching the other end. Maybe hands a little closer, but again, mindful to keep the chest proud and the spine long. And a few deep breaths here. And if you have your strap, you can drop it. Strong belly, inhale breath, come all the way up, extend the left leg and arc back and stretch that whole right side of the body. And stay here, one final inhale. And as you exhale, cartwheel fingertips to the floor and step forward to your forward fold. Stillness or movement here, and give yourself a few breaths. If you have a bind, you can release it. Your next inhale, find a halfway lift and lengthen. And sigh it out. And twice more. And for the transition, inhale, halfway lift. And then bend your knees deeply, lower the hands behind you, and we'll bring the bum down to the floor. Now take a moment to make sure that you feel comfortable. You can add padding if you need. And once again, we're going to find a balance pose similar to boat, except this time it will be like a happy baby. So to transition into it, you can bring the feet a little bit closer, maybe take the knees a little wider so that you can catch hold of the feet. And then maybe you'll lift one leg at a time and just see what this feels like. If you have the option, you might think about lifting both, and they can hover low if you like. If you have the space to open up like you would for Happy Baby, then go for it. Mindful, the spine is tall, the chest is proud. The hands can be as active as you need them to be. And take a few deep breaths here. Awesome. If you're still with me, if you want a little more time in the shape, then go for it. Otherwise, slowly bring the feet back down. We're going to transition to a toe squat here, so just mindful of the knees if you want to transition a different way. Otherwise, you might experiment with just pushing yourself up and seeing where you end up. So for the toe squat, we'll keep the knees nice and wide apart. Hands can stay on the floor the whole time. If you want to play with balance, then go for it. You can lift the hands up. And then from here, you can either stay, or I'm going to talk through crow pose, the arm balance. So if you wanted to come with me to that, I'm going to talk through coming in using the blocks. So if you are in a frog squat and you're using the blocks, then just set up your blocks. You can use 1 or 2, and we'll come back and do the frog squat on the props. This will just change kind of the leverage of the shape, might make it a little more accessible. If you feel really wobbly, feel free to move and do this closer to a wall too if you feel like you might fall out. Now from here, we'll set the hands first. So think almost like a down dog. Fingers gripping into the floor, hands really pressing down. You might almost imagine that there's like a suction cup in the middle of the hand as well that's pulling up from the floor. Now from here, just take a moment to set like you would. Find that stability in the shoulders. And then lift the hips a little bit higher and bring the knees anywhere to the back of the arms. So it might be more shoulder, it might be more tricep. And then from here, once you make that connection, really squeeze the two together. You can bend the elbows a little bit, almost like you're making a shelf. And then look forward and imagine shifting your weight forward. See what happens. The feet don't have to leave. You can leave the big toes on. You can play with lifting one set or maybe both. If you do, kick the heels towards the bum. And then whatever you're doing, just make sure you're still breathing. Listen to your body. You can play around. If you fall out, feel free to come back in. And if you want to stay a little longer, then go for it as well. When you do feel ready to come out, we'll exit to a more traditional squat shape. So now the feet are a little wider apart. The heels might be to the floor or maybe to your props. And then check in. If you need the hands down for balance, then go for it. If you want something more gentle, then maybe you're making yourself a seat with your blocks. It might feel nice to stretch out the wrists here, so you might bring the backs of the hands together and then just press them gently until you find that nice stretch to the outside of the wrist. Awesome. You can release the hands, maybe roll the wrists a few times in each direction. And then from here, we'll bring the hands forward and lower the knees down to the floor. Awesome. You can keep the props. We'll use them again in a little bit. But from here, come to stand tall on the knees and pelvis roughly above them, whatever distance between the knees feels stable for you. You take that moment to ground down with the shins, to lengthen the spine, soften the shoulders. And then bring your hands either towards the hips or maybe towards the low back, top of the pelvis. You can make fists or have the palms flat. And from here, a slight squeeze of the elbows together. The next time you inhale, puff the chest wide open. Maybe lift the gaze for a slight camel variation. A slight hug through the belly to support the spine, but breathe that length from the knees to the throat, the whole front body. Awesome. Inhale breath, strong belly, lift yourself up and pause for a moment. Release the arms. A stillness or maybe a gentle rock side to side. Awesome. You can keep the blocks where they are or bring them between your heels if they aren't there already. And then you might choose to have the strap nearby as well. Come to a tabletop position and then bring that right knee forward, right foot over to the left, and then snuggle the left knee just behind the right, left foot over to the right. And then from here, start to lift yourself back up, bringing your blocks close enough so that you can land on them. And then check in here. This shape won't work for everybody. If it feels like the pelvis is uneven side to side, you may use more height. If you want to experiment with removing one of the props, then go for it. Just make sure that the pelvis stays even. Mindful of the knees as well. Sometimes a block between knees can feel good. You can also extend that bottom leg towards straight. If you're adding the arm variation for a cow face pose, then take the strap into your left hand, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, and then bend the left elbow hand somewhere behind the head. Right arm out towards the right, thumb pointing down, and then bend that elbow and catch the other end of the strap. And from here, you might walk the hands a little closer together, but again, mindful if you end up closing in as a result, then a little more slack so you can stay proud-chested. If you want to close down the eyes, go for it. And breathe here. Notice the body, notice the breath, notice the mind. Gently release the arms if you have the bind, and maybe give them a little bit of a shake out, a little movement. We'll keep the legs a little while longer. If you need to release them, then go for it and take a twist here. So inhale, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, twist towards the right and let the hands land where they land. So maybe one hand to that front knee. If the floor is a little far away, then feel free to use a block behind you. And keep the spine tall. If you like to take the gaze over the right shoulder, then go for it. And we'll transition for the second side so you can unravel from your twist and come over towards the left and counter twist, and then fingertips to the floor. If this transition is available for you, then follow along. Otherwise, come through tabletop. Hands and feet press down, and keep walking your hands in that counterclockwise direction. Keep going all the way around and see if you can unravel and then ravel up directly for the second side. And if that transition didn't work for you, then from tabletop, left knee forward, right knee behind it, and you can come back in. And then just check in, once again, check in to see if you're listing to one side, if you'd benefit from more props or fewer this time. Check in with the spine, the neck. Awesome. And then if you're doing the bind for the second side, this time strap to the right hand, reach it up, and bend the elbow, hand behind the head. Left arm to the left, thumb pointing down, and then bend that elbow, catch the other end. Maybe walk the hands a little closer. And it's okay, we tend to have a side that's like a little more open than the other. So don't worry if this side doesn't look exactly like the first. And finding your breath, settling in. And keeping that awareness of the body, always making sure it's a pain-free expression. Modifying whatever you need to. As you're ready, gently release the arms from the expression. You can move your strap off to the side and give the arms a little bit of movement. And when you're ready, inhale breath, reach high, and then twist towards the left. Let the hands land wherever they land. And again, the option to use props for more support. Lengthen here and maybe take the gaze over that left shoulder. As you're ready with an inhale, unraveling to center, taking your counter twist. And back to the midline, unravel one leg and then the other. And lower the bum down to the mat. You can move your props out of the way. And from here, we'll lower down onto the back so you can do hands to knees or float the arms. And you can come down quickly or slowly, take your time. Awesome. And then once you touch down, we'll bring the knees back into the chest and set up Happy Baby once again so you can reach between the knees, catch feet, ankles, shins, and just notice that how the shape feels compared to earlier. Maybe it feels a little bit different. Awesome. From Happy Baby, if you need a little more time, feel free to stay. Otherwise, release the feet back to the floor and then extend the legs long down the mat. And from here, you can extend the arms up the mat if you have space to do so. And keeping the pelvis where it is, walk the feet towards the bottom right corner, and maybe the arms towards the top right corner. Always the option to bend elbows if that works better for you. You can cross left ankle over right, left wrist over right if you like. Notice if that left side of the pelvis has started to lift up off the floor, and see if you can keep both sides equally grounded. And breathe into that stretch to the whole left side of the body. And slowly coming back to center. And then when you're ready, feet towards the bottom left, upper body towards the top left. Maybe right ankle or right wrist can cross, elbows can bend, head can turn, and settle in here and breathe into that whole right side. And as you're ready, coming back to center once again. And just check in with your body, see if you're craving any last kind of movement or any last shapes. If you feel ready to come to rest, I'd suggest resting in a butterfly shape today. If that works for you, you might even bring some props closer so you can use them to support the knees. Bending the knees nice and open, feet together, and you can choose what kind of butterfly you want, if you want the feet closer to the body or further away. And if for any reason this shape doesn't work for you or being on the back doesn't work for you, you can choose a seated meditation, legs up the wall. If you are coming to butterfly, just make sure that the legs feel adequately supported. Find an arm expression that enhances the shape for you. So maybe hands on the body, or maybe you like to cactus. If there's anything else you need to adjust, then go for it. Maybe a rock of the head, releasing anything from the neck. Maybe you want to run your tongue along your teeth, between teeth and lips, top set, bottom set, to release the jaw. And taking your time to get comfortable, to get settled. And then either closing the eyes or softening the gaze. And find your rest. And gently bring your attention back to this space. And from wherever they are, bring one hand to the heart space and the other hand on top. Together, take a deep inhale, feel the chest balloon. And deep sigh. And twice more, deepest inhale. Noisy exhale. Last one, most dramatic. And then reaching down, collecting the knees back together. Maybe bring the legs up into the chest, the arms around the shins. Maybe lifting the forehead towards the knees. Curl up into a ball. Give yourself a rock here. And think about a transition to a seat. You can come down to one side. You could gently rock your way up. And there's no rush to arrive. Any way you like, make your way to a comfortable seated position. Maybe cross-legged or maybe something else. Maybe there are some props nearby you can use to support yourself. As you find your shape, taking a moment to ground down through whatever is touching the floor, to lengthen the spine. Hands can rest wherever they've landed. And then notice the breath, notice the body here. And perhaps collecting the palms at the heart, maybe bowing chin in towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. And again, my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy your week.